Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Carlson, and you are about to witness the very first episode of our podcast slash videocast of Hope You're Fitted. Now, when people hear that, they feel insulted. Like, why are you trying to insult me? See, the thing is that while we do hope you're offended, we hope that you also understand that what I'm about to say to you is probably something you specifically needed to hear. See, the human body and the human mind and everything about us thrives and grows from a time of discomfort. When we get lazy and we're comfortable and everybody agrees with us, that's not when we grow. It's when somebody says something that challenges our belief system. See, the reality on top of all of this is that the way we were raised and our cultural beliefs and the things that we've experienced in life help us formulate the opinions that tell us that their opinions are wrong. And that's the whole purpose. We hope we offend you so that you think outside the box, not to breed hatred or to incite riots, but to think deeper to the point to where we can talk about these things that we disagree about. See, our whole podcast for this year is going to be a 20-week podcast. And the very first subject, oh boy, are we coming out swinging on this one, is gender equality and feminism. Now, how this is going to format is that I'm going to start out and I'm going to say something that I hope offends you. Now, before you stop playing the video after I say this thing, and then you comment about, oh, well, that was rude, that was disrespectful, watch the whole video. I encourage you, because this next comment that I'm about to make may be the one thing that causes you to create deeper level thinking. Now, the other thing I want to point out is that there are no edits. There are no redos. What I say is just going to be what I say. It's as simple as that. So if I stumble on my words, I have to correct myself, because I believe in taking ownership of what I say and what I believe and sharing thoughts with other people, because it's not about what political party you affiliate with. It's not what your religious belief is or anything. It's about us coming together, debating, conversating, rationalizing topics that are so critical in our world that we need to talk about, but we do it in a fashion that incites inspiration, motivation, and out-of-the-box thinking. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into what we're talking about today. And as we go along, I'll eventually upgrade my camera because, as you can see, it's going in and out of focus. But with that being said, let's start the first topic of discussion for the Hope You're Offended podcast: feminism and gender equality. Now, my stance on this is that gender equality and feminism is a joke. I'll let that sink in for a minute. A joke. Now, before I get into why that is, let's explore gender equality and feminism first, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about what it is, the true essence of what it all started out to be versus what it is today. See, gender equality refers to the equal rights, the responsibilities, and opportunities of all people, regardless of their gender. Even genders we may not even know exist yet, because we know there's some weird ones, that we don't understand. I mean, I support them, but I just don't understand them, okay? That doesn't mean I don't support them. It just means I need a little bit more education on the topic. But that's all genders, regardless of their gender. Equal opportunity. And it's about the fair treatment of individuals in a way that considers their needs and potential without being restricted by traditional roles or prejudices. You know what I'm talking about. Girls wear pink, boys wear blue. It was never about that. Feminism and gender equality was that it didn't matter. Get the little girl the Tonka truck that she wants. If the boy wants to play with Barbies, cool, teach him. You know how many grown men don't know how to do their daughter's hair? That's a problem, But we put everybody in these gender stereotypes and these roles. And then people wonder why we're the way we are. And it's funny, because what my wife will tell you is that I am the female of the relationship. Because while men, statistically speaking, speak way less than women, oh, she's the quiet one. Me? Yakety yak yak yak. I mean, that's why you see me up here and not her, because I'm the talker in the relationship. But with that being said, what we also have to understand is that feminism and gender equality have been a long-standing thing, okay? It's not something that we just all woke up and was like, feminism! No, it's It's not what it is at all. See, the journey towards gender equality has been long, stretching back centuries. But we're not gonna waste your time. Well, it's not really wasting your time if you're learning, is it? But we're not gonna take up all that time to go back generations. Okay? See, the biggest issue is that it's been a struggle to break down the barriers that have historically been placed upon men and women on unequal footing. And we'll get to that in a minute. But a good example, okay? I want you to think about this. Women's rights to vote. Equal pay. The ongoing battle against gender-based violence. Each step has been pivotal. And now, on top of feminism, you know, like I said, as a supporter of the LGBTQ movement, there's so many new things that are coming to fruition that even the feminists are like, I don't even know what I support anymore. And that's not to offend any feminists. After educating myself on this topic, I learned I'm a feminist, which is exactly why I say feminism and gender equality is a joke. But we're not there yet. I'll tell you why in a minute. See, before we go too much further, we want to look at what current research shows, okay? Current research shows that the economic gender gap is projected to take 257 years to close. 257 years ago to close. You waiting around for that? Because I know I just said I wasn't going to go back centuries, but we sure as hell ain't waiting 257 years to sit here and see the gender equality gap close. Are you waiting? Because I ain't got that time. I got shit to do today, okay? But given different cultures, different, setbacks that we've had in our society, not just our society, not our culture. I mean, you look at Middle Eastern culture, okay? There's a lot of things that women still can't do, the Mormon culture. There's so many different cultures that this all accumulates to an approximate 257 years left before we see that equality, okay? But now that you know that's 257 years, why? Okay? Women are still underrepresented in leadership roles. They face wage inequality and are often in lower paid, less secure forms of employment. You know what I'm talking about. We're not going to waste our time. We know it's an issue, okay? But in education, while we've made significant strides in that area, one of the things that we see is a disparity between higher education in certain fields like STEM. Statistically speaking, I'm stepping back to focus here, women are teaching more art, English, things like that. But men are still usually the ones that are dominating in our educational field on subjects like math and technology. So our STEM, basically. So that's another area where women are still not having a good time, And then to top it all off, the only thing that women have over us men, only thing, is that they live longer because they don't do stupid shit like we do. But even with their health and their survival rates, there's more government entities and politicians telling women what to do with their body, which that's a whole different story. We'll talk about that at a different time on the topic of abortion and government control over women's bodies and what they do. Stay tuned for that. That's going to be an exciting one. Anyways, so the biggest, most frustrating area for women in equality and gender equality and feminist movement, okay? Politics. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there aren't women in politics, but when was the last time anybody was proud to say Hillary Clinton represent women? Okay, there might be a few out there, okay? Again, this is not a political thing, but I'm looking at the actions of what one person in political power did to taint the reputation of women. Didn't make them look good, did it? Getting killed, soldiers killed in Benghazi? That's not fun. That doesn't look good for a woman in power. But I'm not saying that's all women. What I'm saying is that we need more women in political leadership because it benefits us men too. I'm just saying. We'll get to that part in a minute. But with that being said, I'm looking through my notes here. I'm somewhat scripted. There's, going back to the politics, there's policies that don't just impact women, but there's policies. Let me rephrase this so this makes sense. You've got men, mostly men. We'll say you can look at the statistic. Please prove me wrong. Comment below. I'd love it. The majority of congressional lawmakers and politicians are men making laws for women. How does that make sense? Okay. Now, we won't go into that. But now that we understand kind of like what the issue is, right? Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about how it all evolved. Let's focus on just feminism for a minute. See, feminism in its essence is the belief in and the fight for the equality of all genders. Same for, gender equality is what we talked about. In its history, often, we'll just talk about recent history, okay? Has been characterized in waves. See, the first wave came in the 19th century and early 20th centuries, and it was primarily concerned with suffrage, the right for women to vote. Y'all remember that, right? Probably not, because most people aren't being educated in schools about that anymore because it's not a big deal. Yes, it is. See, pioneering women like Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton led the charge in the United States, paralleling the movements in the UK and around the world. We set the standard. We said, hey, this is not right. And other countries around the world said, oh, you're right. But then we fell off. Let that sink in for a moment. But the second wave came in about the 1960s, 1970s, a period where there was broader social and cultural transformations. What had happened was this wave tackled issues like workplace inequality. Hits a little bit more to home. Reproductive rights, boom, again, hitting close to home. And the legal system. A pivotal work from this area is Betty Friedman's The Feminine Mystique. Haven't read it yet, but I've read excerpts. Great book. She critiqued the idealization of domesticity and ignited conversations about women's personal fulfillment beyond traditional roles. Going back to what I said earlier, okay? Women wear pink, boys wear blue. Why are we still stuck in that? Like we are not Neanderthals anymore, although some of us do look like it. This guy. It's time we move forward, It's time that we talk about what we're doing wrong. And Frieden wrote that it's easier to live through someone else than to become complete yourself. Now, let's capitalize on that for a minute. Women's rights and reputation and what they stood for meant so little to our society in the 60s and 70s that she wrote that it is easier to live through their spouse and another man than to be themselves stand alone, because our culture and our society didn't support that. But then came the third wave, the 90s. Okay, we're still seeing after effects. You could argue that we have even a fourth wave right now, but the third wave started in the early 1990s, and it was a response to a perceived failures of the second wave. See what we're doing here, and the continuation of social and cultural inequalities. Beautiful part about this wave is that it embraced diversity, individualism. Going back to what Frieden had said, that it was easier to be in the shadow of somebody else, basically, instead of being her own standalone person. And this wave embraced diversity. Oh, sorry, I just said that. It was during this period that voices like Bell Hooks, the author of Feminism is for Everybody, became prominent. Hooks argued for a feminism that is for all, okay? I want to hit on this in a minute. Argued for a feminism that is for all, stating, feminism is a movement to end sexism, sexist exploitation, and oppression. Sorry, I almost messed up that word. Oppression. Now I want to talk about that, okay? Emphasize this key word. Feminism is for all, okay? What has happened to our society is that some individuals have turned feminism into an excuse to hate men. I see people that a man says he's feminist and people are like, oh no, you can't do that. Yes, men can be feminists too. We support it. We're all for it. I wouldn't be sitting here recording this video. I am recording, right? Okay, good. Just had to double check. If I didn't believe in it. Equality for women and men for that matter, because there's some things that we'd like to have some equality too as well. But moving forward, one of the big things that marked this last major feminist movement was the changing in digital technology and social media usage. You know what I'm talking about? The Me Too movement and Time's Up. That was so inspirational. Now, some people, we've heard stories, no confirmation, that people just use it as an excuse to target other people. But the true people that were actually experiencing these things, beautiful. Finally, women have a platform that they can actually stand up and speak up. And I love that. I support it 100%. But one thing I want to talk about is that there was a fourth wave of feminism, and this wave was defined by a focus on intersectionality. Okay? Big word, especially for me. See, one of the things that intersectionality includes isn't just, are you a woman? Are you poor? Are you black? Okay? That's probably stinging a little bit when I say that. But the reality is that I know I drew the lucky straw. I'm a white man in America. The same cannot be said for a black woman in America that is raised poor or comes from a poor family. Now, granted, we're in the land of the free, home of the brave, land of opportunity, right? But not everybody has the same opportunity. You think I'm just going to sit here and pretend like life is great? Why? Because I'm white and I'm a man? Not everybody has those same opportunities. And if what I just said offends you, good. Let it sink in. Let it seed. Let it feel it. Okay? The reason why is because what we're talking about here is how we need to make adjustments to ourselves, the way we think, the things we do, and the people we interact with. And why is my phone going off right now? My apologies. Moving forward, one of the things I want to talk about is some of the challenges, okay? And we're, how would I put this? There's no real way to put this. I said earlier that feminism and equality is a joke. But there's a reason why. Why is it that in 2024, we are still having this conversation? Why is it that women and men, in many different aspects, are subjugated to being defined by their race, their gender, their poverty status, their income? Just doesn't make sense to me anymore. But here's the reason why I think overall, and let this sink in for a moment. This is why I think feminism and gender equality is a joke. Okay? Should have never happened. Here's my firm belief. Being prior military, I think, okay, if you perceive somebody as an enemy, how do you beat them? Not short term, not tearing them down, killing them, but long-term psychological warfare. How do you do it? You make them feel inferior. See, it's my personal belief that women have always been better than men. I've seen women in the military that can outperform men. I see it every day in everything I do. Yet, they're still paid less than men? Oh, don't even get me started. Once again, the whole intersectionality. If you're a black woman, an Asian woman, a Hispanic woman, oh yeah, you're getting paid even less than the white woman. Why? Why is it that way? I think the fact that we purely have to even talk about equality for people that are doing the exact same job, the exact same work, if not even more effort, are getting paid less. It's heartbreaking. It really is. That's why I think feminism is a joke. Equality is a joke. Not because of what it stands for, but it's a joke to the fact that we even have to use the words. Let me ask you a question. You need love and comfort. Who's going to get it for you first? A woman. Doesn't even matter race. You need money, quick. Who's going to be able to get it the fastest for you? generally a woman. You need expert advice. Who are you going to get it from? A woman. They're usually the best at it. I know because my wife is amazing. She's probably laughing as she's watching this, but we look at everything that we're doing in our society. We look at how women have been oppressed. And what I truly believe it is that centuries ago, men felt threatened. They knew women was the better part of the race, or gender. My bad. They knew women were the better part of the gender. They knew that they were better at everything. They knew it. Ooh, 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 man beat chest. We wanted to be better. So for centuries, men have suppressed women, and we're seeing it all the way until this day. It's pretty sad, isn't it? Look, if something I said offended you, maybe you're the one that needed to hear it. Maybe you're the one that needed a difference in opinion. Now, if I did offend you because I said feminism is a joke and gender equality is a joke, listen to my words now. I only say that because it's something that we should have never had to even talk about. Women should have been set on the same pedestal, if not higher. I mean, think about it. Do I agree that women should be paid the same amount? Obviously. But you know what I don't agree? Is, see, if women want equality to men, you're taking a step down. You want to have the highest suicide rates, the most dangerous jobs, most death by firearms, dying to the dumbest shit you'd ever heard of, okay? That's us men, okay? I truly believe for women to ask for equality to men, you're taking a step down. Now, as far as equal pay, voting rights, you know, we fixed the voting thing for the most part. There's still some issues there, in my personal opinion, but that's neither here nor there. But as far as like across the board, workplace, politics, schools, education, 100%, give them the same, if not more, than what men have. That's just my opinion. But in other regards, for a woman to be equal to a man, you're taking a step down. My name is Dr. Carlson. You guys have been a blessing. Stay tuned for next week's episode, where we'll start that episode out with responding to comments to this video and then moving forward on our next topic, which is mental health. You guys have been awesome. Stay beautiful. Tip your waitress. Have a good day.